Tell you what, Oxford United fans, this general good feeling I have towards everything at the club at the moment, I could get used to that. Hello everybody and welcome back to another review of this Oxford United season. Today the U's were at home to Exeter City, both sides flying high at the top of League One. Even at this early stage of the season, both sets of fans will be excited, and this had all the ingredients for what should have been a really good game. A good week for Oxford United on and off the field as Oxfordshire County Council agreed to lease the land at the Triangle. So it's another step forward in Oxford's hunt to have a new ground, which is fantastic news. But we had some devastating news after losing to the MK Dons in the Pizza World Championships. Could we bounce back with a win in the league? Well, yes we could, and just like last week, it was another big win for Oxford United. Not as comfortable, nowhere near as comfortable as the game was against Fleetwood, but the same scoreline. It ended Oxford United 3, Exeter City 0. A very even contest in my opinion for large parts of this game until Oxford sealed it with a couple of late penalties, but we will get into all of that. I will go over team news, I will do a match review, I will give those all important player ratings, and then I will give my final thoughts. As always, I leave timestamps down below, so feel free to jump to any part of the video that you wish. But if you do, the very least you could do is hit that like button, because that helps me out so much. And if you like the content, think about subscribing to the channel. I would greatly appreciate that as well. I do have to give a quick shout out to one of the people that requested it in the comments from the week before, and that is Joshy from the OX4 area. Thank you very much for all your comments. Here is your shout out. You'll never ever forget Joshy, because he's got the unmistakable username of user-lm9vp8lc7m. It just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it, Joshy? Hopefully that isn't encrypted and means something rude. If it does, I'm an idiot, I guess. Let's move on to the team news, and let's start with Oxford United. Not surprising at all that Liam Manning chose the same starting 11 as that one that won 3-0 over Fleetwood the week before. He could have made changes at fullback, but he kept with Cameron Brannagan and he kept with Sam Long, which meant Greg Lee returned to the side after suspension but could only get a place on the bench. It still means Billy Bowden remains the striking option, as Harris is still suspended and Gatlin Adonka is injured, which means these striking options do look very light again for Oxford United. Sonny Perkins drops out of the squad altogether. He really did not do his stock much good at all in that Papa John's defeat. One guy who I actually think has been impressive in the Papa John's has been Josh Murphy, and he finds himself back on the bench. Moving on to Exeter City, Gary Caldwell's Grecians side have started the season excellently, and Exeter actually started today 1 point and 2 places above Oxford United in second place. We talk about Papa John's, but we won't mention Papa John's for Exeter City. We'll move on from there. So it's one change from the Exeter side that beat Cheltenham Town 1-0 last weekend. It is Harry Kite coming back into the side. But this season, defensively, really, Exeter of where they have excelled. It's 5 clean sheets on the season so far for them. That back three of Sweeney, Aimson and Hartridge have all started the season really well. And Oxford United fans will, of no doubt, jump to the name of Yannick Wiltshire, who starts up front for the Grecians. Obviously, he was at Oxford last season. Didn't do great, but I always quite like Yannick, and I hope that he does do well, but not in this game. Moving on to the match, and a common theme in game, the start of matches, first 10 minutes, Oxford seem to start slow, and they always seem to normally gift the opposition something. Exeter did start really brightly. Mitchell, who was great for Exeter all afternoon, I have to say, his pace and his skill nearly ran through our whole back line, and then you had Yannick Wiltshire nearly getting in from a ball over the top a few minutes later. But the first time Oxford kind of did get their foot on the ball and pass it around a bit, they did get the opening goal of this game. It did come after 8 minutes, and it was Rueben Rodrigues' first goal for Oxford United. I've been giving him some stick. I certainly gave him stick in the last video that I did, but I can give him no stick this afternoon. I say Oxford made it 1-0. His first goal. They kept possession really well. They got the ball out to Edwards. It was the first time he was one-on-one with a defender. Sweeney just did not could not handle Edwards at all in that first half. He dropped the shoulder, he got half a yard, whipped a brilliant ball in. It got to Rodrigues about 8 or 9 yards out, who met it with a diving header to put Oxford 1-0 up. A sort of goal Oxford United rarely score. I can't remember the last time we've scored a goal with a good ball into the box and either a striker or a midfielder runs on to a header. So a few more of those, please, Oxford. I've missed those type of goals. It was Exeter who responded really well, and 2 minutes later they nearly scored a carbon copy of Oxford's goal, really. It was Mitchell who, as I said, was great all afternoon, caused Brown problems. He got round the back of Brown. Many Oxford players struggled with Mitchell. It wasn't just Brown, but he was able to pull a chance back, but it was a really too sharp for Carroll, who was arriving into the box, and he headed it over on the stretch. Next couple of chances for Oxford United fell to Billy Bowden, and they both came after good work from Edwards again. Edwards getting into the box and he squared it to Bowden. Bowden was able to sort of turn on the ball, but he was constantly getting crowded out by Exeter defenders. He was able to get a shot away, but not before a defender got back to block it, and then Sinisalo was able to dive on the ball and smother it. But 2 minutes later, again, this time it was Bowden again, but Sinisalo made a very good save this time. Exeter very poor in possession on this occasion, gave the ball away to Edwards, who fed it to Bowden on the edge of the box. Good strike from Bowden, but good save from the keeper. Turned it around for a corner. Exeter getting into some good areas, but not really able to test Beadle at all. And from a free kick as well, really came a good chance from the edge of the box, really came to nothing. But Mitchell causing problems as he always was, and Exeter were just able to almost put the ball into channels in the first half and get the play down the left or down the right and cause Oxford United problems. And whilst Edwards and Mills caused problems at the other end, it was certainly Mitchell causing Oxford a lot of headaches as he was running at the Oxford defence. He got the beating of Brown once again. He cut into the area and he smashed a shot at goal, and Oxford were quite lucky that Jordan Forney was just there to get his head on it and deflect it out for a corner, because that shot looked like it was going in. And 3 minutes later, Exeter went close again. It was Yannick Wiltshire who actually smashed the post with a decent shot. He got one-on-one with Long, and he only got half a yard. He didn't beat Long, but he was able to get a shot away. And Beadle was beaten in goal, but luckily for Oxford, it did cannon back off the post. There would have been a few question marks if that would have gone in against Beadle. It was a well-hit shot, but it shouldn't have really been beaten. Well, luckily he wasn't. And half-time came and it was 1-0 to Oxford United, and whilst Oxford created the better chances, I think, in the game, they certainly were not dominant at all. Wide areas for both sides were where they were causing problems. Mills and Edwards for Oxford getting down the left and right-hand side, and mainly Mitchell for Exeter, but they always had willing runners in Wiltshire, and they also had the likes of Cole and Cowell and Trevitt interchanging positions really well, and they picked up a lot of second balls in good areas as well. And I'd have to say, Exeter probably the best footballing side we played this season as well. Very comfortable knocking it around, very comfortable in possession. Just the end product that was missing for Exeter probably goes, like Oxford, they haven't got a recognised striker playing in this game, and I think both sides were really missing that up front today. Could have been more goals in this one if a couple more strikers were on show. But whilst Oxford were in the lead, this game certainly did not feel done and dusted, and you certainly felt Oxford needed at least another goal. Start of the second half was very scrappy, and both sides started a little bit frantic, giving the ball away, a little bit rushed in possession. The first shot in anger came after 55 minutes, and it was Cameron Brown who shot from well wide, long way out, and it was good work from Oxford winning the ball back, but a very speculative effort from Cameron Brown didn't force the goalie into making a save. Once again, Oxford were causing problems from wide areas in this game. And this time, it wasn't from Mills. He ran inside. Brannagan ran on the outside. Mills gave him the ball. Created a big scramble in the area from Brannagan's cross. But it was cleared in the end by Exeter. And another counter-attack. 5 minutes later, Mills breaks into the box. He tries to cut back onto his left foot, but he is tackled by Aimson, and I have to say the Exeter man did really well there getting back to make that tackle. And another constant theme was Oxford winning the ball back in this second half and creating counter-attacks, and that seemed their best route to goal. And again, just 2 minutes after Mills had that chance, it was Brannagan again who got played in by Rodrigues, and his shot hit the outside of the post this time, so it was Oxford's turn to hit that outside of the post. Brannagan, I thought, really should have gone across goal. He tried to go near post, hit it really hard, but for there he really should have been going across the goal, work the keeper, and really kind of spurn that chance a little bit. 71 minutes, he doesn't make many mistakes, but Marcus McGuane made one here. He was caught in possession, and it led to an Exeter break, and it led to Sam Long siving down Mitchell, gave Exeter a free kick in a dangerous position. It was a really good strike by Cole, and it actually forced Beadle into a smart save, probably a more difficult save than it looked like. It was a long way out, but it was a good hit by Cole. And then a couple of minutes later, Cole again, a long range effort, but this time very easy for Beadle to get down. But before all that happened, Bowden found himself in a lot of space in the box from a Lee header. And again, that lack of a striker, he was just twisting and turning, trying to carry a chance. You get the feeling if Harris was there, he just would have got one touch, bang, struck it at goal. But Bowden just let the chance go to waste on that occasion. But Exeter had nothing to lose, and at 1-0 down, they had to go for it, and they went for it. The more and more this game went on, the more and more Oxford United did get nervous, and Exeter were getting up more and more of a head of steam, and Oxford were mainly relying on breaks on the counter-attack. The movement was really good up front from Exeter at times, and it caused Oxford some big problems. There was a big scramble in the box, and you were waiting for an Exeter player to go down and give away a penalty, but Oxford United got the ball away, but it was recycled, good ball in, and it fell to Scott with a good chance to get a header in on goal, and he made a real mess of that header again. That lack of strikers on show for both sides. And we moved into the final 10 minutes of this game, and it was Oxford who got that second goal, and they got it from the penalty spot. It's probably maybe the only way Oxford were going to get that second goal was from a penalty spot. Rodrigues pulled down in the box. Good work on the counter-attack again. Good work from Murphy. Good work from Brannagan. Actually started with a good ball out from Thornley, who could have just smashed it into the stands but kept the ball in play. And Rodrigues dragged down, gave it to Cameron Brannagan. He smashed it into the bottom corner to calm those nerves for Oxford United. But Exeter weren't giving up the ghost, and it was Mitchell again, who again was great all afternoon, forced Beadle into a save which generated a corner. But Beadle was pretty calm, pretty composed in this game today and kept that clean sheet intact. But again, the Exeter chances just kept coming, and they just lacked that cutting edge in front of goal. And it was Oxford failing to clear their lines. Good ball in. This time Scott wins a good header up there, cushions it down. Aimson, being a centre-back in the box, wasn't able to react quick enough, and Beadle was able to come out and sort of smother the chance and keep that clean sheet intact. And then, right at the end of the game really stretched, another counter-attack. Rodrigues gets it into Murphy, who made up a lot of ground to get into the area. He was dragged down by Aimson. That gave Oxford their second penalty of the game. Brannagan tucked it away again. 3-0 win for Oxford. I don't think it's unfair to say that scoreline flattered Oxford quite a lot in this one. Exeter will win this game. Didn't deserve to lose 3-0. But hey-ho, that is how it finished, and I will certainly take it. Moving on to my all-important player ratings then, and let's start with James Beadle in goal, and another clean sheet for Beadle, second one in a row. He gets a 7 out of 10, looking more and more a calm presence in that Oxford United goal. Sam Long also gets a 7 as well, very solid from Longy there, no real problems from him. Again, Exeter did cause Oxford problems down the flanks, but I think the fullback stood up strong enough in this game, as did Kieran Brown. Couple of shaky moments in the first half, but got a lot better as the game went on. Jordan Thornley has come back into the side, 2 clean sheets since he's come back in as well. Very calm in there again, looks very composed alongside the skipper Elliot Moore, who again gets a 7 out of 10. Very good performance from Elliot Moore. His reading of the game continues to be really good in there, and he continues to lead this side well in a much more composed Oxford United defensive line from what we saw last season. Marcus McGuane gets a 7 out of 10, just the obligatory good performance now from Marcus McGuane. Actually, he made a mistake in this game, which is like, what the heck is happening? But generally, his play was really tidy, play was really neat, and as always, his defensive work was very much needed in there as well. Great performance from Cameron Brannagan. He gets an 8 out of 10. Of course, he got 2 penalties at the end, which made his game look even more. But I thought his work rate was fantastic in midfield today. Real box-to-box midfield performance from Cameron Brannagan. Got forward to try and make things happen in and around the penalty area, and also as well as defensive work. Like McGuane was very much on point. Gave him a lot of stick last week, but Rueben Rodrigues bounces back with his best performance in an Oxford United shirt. He gets a 9 out of 10 from me today. Got his first goal, was involved in the 2 penalties as well, and just generally everything he did today was very bright. I think as well, I'd have to say, you realised what this Oxford United side is like without him in the side, without his work rate in that midfield too. You noticed it in that Papa John's defeat to MK Dons, and you almost, where you have that adage of you become a better player when you're not in the side. I definitely noticed him not being there, and was grateful for today for him being back in there and having such a great game. And now he's got that goal. Hopefully he can take it to another level. Kyle Edwards gets a 7 out of 10. I thought in the first half he was superb. He tailed off a bit in the second half when Oxford were able to get him the ball. He continued to get those defenders on the back foot and make things happen. This Oxford side with that injection of pace makes such a difference, and we look such a more potent attacking unit. But I say, not a great second half, but still 7 out of 10, and great assist for the first goal. Stan Mills gets a 7 out of 10. I thought his work rate was superb. He maybe didn't have the end product that Edwards had, but I thought constantly he was again getting down the line, causing problems, putting Exeter City on the back foot, and I thought his work rate, as I said, was superb in this game today. And he really, whilst Edwards kind of tailed off in the game, he kind of grew into the game more and more as it went on. Billy Bowden, I'm going to give an 8 to, and I just think that his intelligence on the field made such a difference to his Oxford United performance. He should have scored today. Let's make no bones about it. He should have scored. He maybe should have scored 2 goals, but I think that, again, his effort and his work rate up front, it was really good, and his movement and his intelligence, the way to link play, was excellent up there as well. And I think he had, rather other than getting a goal, I thought he had a really good game. He gets an 8 out of 10, and it's going to be interesting to see where Manning fits all these pieces in once Harris comes back. On to the substitutes now. Look, Greg Lee came on after 68 minutes. He gets a 6 out of 10. Didn't really have much to do in the game, but you know what he does, he was tidy. I'll tell you what, he's got a tremendous leap and won some great headers and nearly set Bowden up with a good chance of a header, but just a 6 out of 10 for Greg Lee. Josh Murphy comes on, gets a 7 out of 10. I thought he's looked impressive in the minutes I've seen him in the Papa John's. He's looked so he's got an appetite to want to play, which hasn't always been there from Murphy, but he looks like he wants to try and make things happen, get on the ball, create chances, drive at defenders, and that is what we want to see. And again, what great depth he adds to this Oxford United lineup. Tyler Goodrum, I think, was ready to come on for about 20 minutes. Finally got on after 86 minutes. Too late to give him a grade. And that brings me on to Liam Manning. And I'll give Liam Manning the same grade as I gave him last week. And I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10. I thought that everything, same as last week. I think it was the right thing to do to pick the same starting lineup, and they were rewarded with another fine win. It continues to show what a great coach he has been for these players in such a short space of time. They just look well organised, they look well drilled. Today was a very different test for Oxford. We had to play large parts of this game without the ball, which is something we haven't had to do a lot this season, but you still saw the discipline was there, and you still saw that every player was kind of working to get back into positions and make things happen, and you saw what a dangerous side we could be on the counter-attacks. Team selection was pretty easy for this one, but I think you can definitely see the way he's coaching these players, and that Oxford looks such an improved side this season. He gets a 9 out of 10. And that brings me to my final thoughts, and let's start with the visitors, Exeter City. And Grecians fans, you travelled in great numbers today, and I'd have to say your side, I don't think your side let you down this afternoon. I think this scoreline flattered Oxford United, and I'd actually even go as far as to say I think Exeter City are the best football inside we have played this season. You moved the ball around, you kept possession, you certainly got a lot of players in that midfield and wide areas that are interchanging positions and causing problems. You just did not have that striker. You did not have that clinical presence up front. When if you did, you may well have easily making a point. You may have even taken all 3 points from this game. But I was very impressed from what I saw from Gary Caldwell's side, and I wouldn't let this result dampen your spirits at all. It's still been a great start to the season, and I think you're going to have a very good season. Moving on to Oxford United today, and yeah, I do think this was a challenge Oxford United haven't faced so far this season, a side that's very comfortable on the ball, and yes, they did make some mistakes passing it out from the back a few times, but that's going to happen. I thought in general Exeter were very tidy in possession, kept the ball well, and actually beat our press quite a few times. So it was a problems that Oxford United have not faced, but I thought they overcome it quite well, and really we did create some good chances, and we just weren't back to our kind of not clinical self, whereas we were quite clinical against Fleetwood Town. I think we really miss Harris up front as that focal point, and I'm looking forward to see him coming back into the side, because I think some of those chances that were created would have been tucked away by him. But what can you say? It's another 3-0 win, back-to-back 3-0 wins for Oxford United. No matter how they come, it's still an impressive result. And that moves us up. I can't even remember where that... I'm not even going to guess. I got it wrong last time. But it puts us pretty much near the top of the league. If not second, then maybe third. And we go on to have another very difficult game. A really interesting game against Stevenage next weekend. That is going to provide us with another difficult test to see how we overcome it. And what a great time it is to be an Oxford United supporter right now. We're going great on the field. Team looks so much better than what we saw last season, and it's hard not to get excited about the start that we've had, but also off the field as well. Well done to Oxvox, well done to the club, and well done to everybody that sent emails in to the council and spoke at that council meeting. It made a massive difference at getting the result we wanted from that meeting. Dream of a new stadium a little bit closer, and hopefully we'll get another good result when it goes to the planning stage, either this side of Christmas or the other side of Christmas. There's going to be a lot of detractors again, and they're going to ramp up the criticism and the scrutiny on this stadium, but I just think all Oxford fans just remain positive, remain talking about how much this club means to us, how much this club means to the community, and make your voices heard in a positive light, and don't be dragged down into the mudslinging from the other side. Thanks for watching this video. I do appreciate anybody that watches any minute. If you could hit like, hit subscribe and all that jazz, that helps me out. I'll be back soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.